All right, boys and girls, it's day 10 of the Wounded Warrior 1776 push-up challenge. I just got off the iron pile with my neighbor and kid, and did a good arm routine today. Boy, it's humid out here. I mean, it's like Mondo humid, and it sucks. And so I'm just gonna crank through these push-ups to get them done and get them posted today. I got a lot to do. I gotta head to the parole department for a lifers meeting, which is a once a month thing for a couple of hours. And I just got a lot to do, so I gotta get this out of the way, get some food in my gut, and take a shower before I go. I don't know, I'm gonna take a shower. I'm just gonna sweat as soon as I get out. But anyway, so I'll go ahead and knock out some of these right here. That's 25. And well, I'm sore this morning. And just doing arms, you get those triceps right there, then you start doing these push-ups. It's like, okay, body's letting you know, hey, a little bit of pain there. What do I always say? Pain is weakness leaving the body. So just another day out here with no shortage of anything to find to complain about. But instead of complaining, let's flip that around and turn that into a positive. I'm just so glad to have my liberty back and to be free, to be out here to experience these kind of problems. And I wouldn't trade this for any day back in the joint. So whenever your back's up against the wall, or you're up against it and you feel like you're getting an unfair shake, or less than something good in your life, just remember this: you're free. You're free, and you're healthy enough to watch this, which means you're sitting upright. Take it for what it is. Don't take it for granted. This is everything. And my first 4 terms in prison were determinate sentences, so I always knew I was going to get out. I always knew there was an end to it, and because of that, you take it for granted. I mean, just that you're going to go in and you're going to do your time and you're going to get out. Nobody ever saw something like 3 strikes come down the pike. I mean, like that you're going to end up serving life sentences for crimes you already did. But that's the way it is. And you know what? Who fucking who? You know what? Be a man. Be accountable for your actions. Nobody made you go do the things you're doing. You elected to do them. I elected to do them. So you do that, you get caught, you get pinched, and you do your time. I'm a big fan of the old Beretta axiom. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. I'm sure a lot of you watching this are so young that you don't know who the hell Beretta is or what that show was, but it was a show back in the 70s. Anyway, his little saying, his little motto was, don't do the crime if you can't do the time. And when I started doing time, not that there's anything great about this, but when I started doing time, you had a different caliber and mindset, it was more stoic, you get schooled by older guys, you gotta keep your tears to yourself, smile now, cry later, asshole, you know what, you did your thing, you got busted, now do your time, so don't cry about it, don't whine, don't sit there and complain like some little broad or some shit, no disrespect to the women, but that was the mindset. Nowadays, it's like, everybody's innocent. Oh, I got framed, or I'm not guilty, or I didn't do it, or like this last term, I must have been the only guy that was guilty of, whatever I was in prison for. So that's how I looked at that. But and people belly ache a lot, they complain a lot, and it's just a twisted mindset, I mean, there's a program called Gogi. I never really did it, but I looked through their books and stuff, and I can see the value in it for some people if that's where they're at. I mean, it's definitely helped people that I know. So, but their whole thing is, getting out through going in. And one of their things is, if you keep giving what you've always been giving, you're going to keep getting what you've always been gotten. You know, so nothing. In other words, if you don't change your thinking and your methodology, you're just going to keep getting what you've been getting. So let me do this next set. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep giving to this and keep getting from it. All right. Okay, that's 30, so that's 55. You know, I talk a lot about accountability, personal accountability, and you know, it's something that as a young man, like many, I was emotionally immature, so I passed the buck of accountability. You know, there was always some other reason for what was going on. Somebody else's fault. Their part in it. Some circumstance beyond my control. It was always something else. But if anything happened when I changed my life, when I decided to change my mindset, criminal thinking, started becoming accountable for my actions to myself. When I started becoming accountable to myself, I started becoming accountable to others. Those in my life, those who I may not even know, just total accountability, you know, complete command and ownership for things that I do or say. And I find since I've turned my thinking around and had that paradigm shift, if you will, some 30, 35 years ago, my life got easier to deal with. You know, you don't have to keep lying to yourself about why things are the way they are, and supported with another lie to yourself about, oh, this will be better if I just did this. Instead, everything just goes smoother. And I'm not saying it's always easy, and I'm not saying it's not a bitter pill sometimes or something that you always like, but being accountable for your actions to yourself first and foremost, and then to all others radiates out. But you find life is just simpler. You don't need to make excuses to yourself. And if you don't need to make excuses to yourself, you certainly aren't going to make them to anybody else. It's just, yeah, I did that. It's my bad. I'll correct it, you know. And in the future, I will endeavor not to repeat the same mistake. Because what do I say? Once a mistake, twice a habit. So there's that. Another set. All right, that brings the grand total to 60, moving right along. So, you know, I've certainly got many shortcomings yet, and you know what to say, when you stop growing, life is over. That's the end of it all. Whether it's metaphorically, just you become a lush couch potato, or physically in the literal sense that you're incapable of learning anymore because life has ceased for you. So do yourself a favor, and before your time on this mortal coil expires, and take command of your life. Take command of your actions. Be the man that nature designed you to be. Be the individual and the human that your parents would have wanted you to be, your grandparents would have wanted you to be. Think about this. You cut yourself shaving, or get a little nick on your finger if you're a lady. Every drop of blood that you have in it, every drop of blood that your body secretes, just a single drop, every ancestor that has ever lived in your entire family line exists in the DNA of that blood. Every descendant who is yet to become exists in that drop of blood. Now, leading up to the ancestral part of that, but for one of them not surviving, their most harrowing events, no matter what generation they live, from the very beginning of your family line, whether it's 35,000 years, 70,000 years, whatever. If just one of them didn't make it, you wouldn't be here today. So next time you think about being selfish, that your life is only affecting you, your decisions are only affecting you in your life, and it's yours to do with as you please. That's free will, that's true enough. But you got the gift that you got because millennia of ancestors struggled to survive and to make it so that you could be here today. And now it's your turn to take your part in that great change so that your descendants one day will become. Our lives are our own, true, but they're not really. We owe a great debt to those who paid the price for us to be here today. Those who survived that we would be today. You know, you owe it to them to live the best life you can, to be accountable for your actions, to your family, to yourself, to live the best life you can. You owe it to your mother and your father, your grandmother and your grandfather on both sides, your children if you have them. You owe it to your family to live the best kind of life you can, and to everybody be able to revel in the joy and holidays and birthdays and what have you, of being able to come together and enjoy each other's company. You can't do that in a joint, you know, where you're paying your penance for being selfish and living a life of crime. You can't do that in there. I'm no hypocrite, you know. There's a lot of people in prison. I'm not saying massive, but there's a lot of people in prison for crimes that shouldn't even equate on the scale of a felonious action. You know, wherefore mens rea is concerned, you know, meaning actual culpability with forethought and malice. So, you know, there must be penalties for the things we do wrong in this world, but they shouldn't be hypocritical on one side. It shouldn't be just you're paying them, and other people that push this hard line are exempt from that when they get pulled over for being drunk because they have a badge, or they have a friend down in the DA's office, or they're a politician or city alderman or whatever. It shouldn't work that way. And you know, there's certain things that people just shouldn't be stretched out like cheap plastic for the rest of their lives in the penitentiary for. I mean, you know, I'm an ardent supporter of the worst things. You know, like I always say, I always put this preamble there, except for pedophiles and rapists. 20 years is enough time for somebody to change their mindset if they want to change. If they haven't made a conscious decision to change in 20 years, they're never going to change. You know, so, and if they do, it's not going to be for the right reason because they just want to get out at that point. So, I don't think sentences should exceed 20 years, 25 years, period, no matter what it is. I mean, let's just go back to the way things used to be. If somebody's not redeemable at all, and we just, as a society, say, hey, this person has no redemptive qualities, you know, even after 25 years, let's just start killing them. Hey, let's just line them up and kill them, you know? Oh, because that's what you're doing. You're socially killing them. And don't get me wrong, I'm definitely not a soft on crime person just because I've been in the joint. Definitely not. But like I said, 25 years. Think about that. 25 years. Within that time, somebody has 20 years plus 5 more for, you know, a little margin of wiggle room to get it right up here and right here. And if they don't get it right in that time, they're never getting it right. They're never getting it right. So, you know, we've got a very draconian system. We've got the most liberal state in the entire United States. Yeah, we've got the most draconian criminal punishment system. We've got the highest taxes for our citizens on everything. I mean, there's a tax for every friggin' thing. Anyway, I'm going to get off that and not beat the drum there. So, I'm just saying, personal accountability goes a long way to changing your life, straightening out your life. It may not always be fashionable, it may not always be comfortable, but you know what? It is the simplest mode to live your life by. You know, you don't have to conceal a bunch of shit. You don't have to fake and fraud. You don't have to shimmy and shake. Things are just what they are. This is the way it is, and I'm accountable for my actions, and that's all there is to it. So, You don't have to lie to yourself anymore, so you don't have to lie to others, because you know, the terms that you're living your life by are all about personal accountability and self-responsibility. And when you live that way, you start becoming responsible for those closest to you. And when you do that, you're accountable to them. Like I say, I've often said that when I started mentoring men in prison, and when my wife and I and a couple of kids started the Holy Nation of Odin, all of a sudden you become responsible for other people. Your actions affect them, not just yourself. So your actions affect them. So when your actions affect others, at least for me, it made me stop, you know, gave me pause to stop and consider what I was doing. Because if I was okay with paying the price for whatever I was doing, whether that was my life or my time or my liberty or my visits or whatever, I was no longer okay with other people that had no choice in the matter paying the prices with me. I used to say, I told the parole board when I went to the board, you know, it occurred to me for the first time, like an epiphany, that when I chose to live a life within the circles of organized crime and joined an organized crime family, so did my friends and my family and my neighbors and my loved ones, both without their consent or in many times without their knowledge. So it was years later, and what I mean by that is everything I did came back to the neighborhood where I lived. You know, everything I did, you know, whether the cops were raiding the house at 4 in the morning, or you know, whether something else had elapsed between me and foes, whatever the case may be, people that have no say-so in the matter get caught up in the jet stream of the decisions we make. So when you're accountable to yourself for your actions, and you're accountable to those close to you that depend on you, rely on you, take their cue from you, everything goes much smoother and much better. So I guess that's my lesson for today, is accountability, personal accountability. All right, that's 100 for the day, and I'm done. I got a lot to do. I got a lot to get to. Till tomorrow. This is Dr. Casper Rosen Kroll saying Old Meadows, and be your best. Be accountable.